The upcoming presidential election and the election of the Senate are going to define this country for the next generation. This is not just about two men. This is about a direct affront to the conservative, limited republic that has given us our wealth and prosperity in this nation for over these last 200 plus years. It's halftime in America. This halftime show is going to last as long as it takes for us to decide what course our Congress and our president is going to take us down. This could happen in a very quick moment where everything changes. We've been told by the media that the wealth is harbored by the top 1%, leaving the 99% used and abused. However, if you look at the figures of reality, that's not the case at all. True, the top 1% do have 34% of the wealth, but they also spend 38% of their incomes in paying income taxes. The bottom 40% truly have very little wealth next to these very rich people, but they actually live quite well relative to worldwide standards and enjoy quite a generous prosperity. It's the way this country's set up. It's called freedom to pursue your dreams. It's an economic liberty that allows us to excel. It gives everyone a chance at upward mobility. In fact, the bottom 40% don't pay any taxes, and they'd still live quite well. You need to think about what is causing the trouble in today's world. It's not the form of government. It's the fact that the government keeps intruding and confiscating through redistributive taxes. And it doesn't allow us the freedom to innovate because we have so many new regulations coming up that are pushing and pulling and trying to manipulate the economy according to a set of guidelines that our current president, Obama, thinks is the best for the nation. This is not the way to have a free economy. It's going to take away everything we've ever worked for. What's actually happened, if you look at the next figure, is that the participation of workers has plummeted under Obama's watch. The unemployment hasn't gotten below 8% in the last 4 years. But that's not even the half of it. There's actually been far, far more than 8% that are not able to find work, as you can see by this worker participation rate plummet. If you looked at actually what is going on, this is put out by the government itself in this next figure, it'll show that the 88 million people are out of work right now. And this is unacceptable. There's 132 million people working, but 88 million additional people are not working. This isn't going to be a sustainable society at all. It's because we have terrible government policies. Then the government has gotten involved with printing money to try to stimulate the economy. But it's not due to the structure of putting out like new freeways or better power lines or dams like were done back in recovering from the Great Depression. No, this time around, we're just giving out entitlement benefits. It's being wasted. Bernanke has had to come up with crazy ways to even find money to continue this because we're not getting it in tax revenue. The country is essentially broken right now. It's a terrible disaster. The book Halftime America in America is one I've written, and it's just out now. I have some late break news as recently as September 13th of this year in my book, and the book is now available just 30 days later. It's amazing how technology is advancing in some areas, and one of these is how to get a book out very quickly. I'm going to read from chapter 13, and it's on page 168. September 13th, 2012 will go down in infamy as the day Ben Bernanke said the Fed would be pursuing an open-ended attempt to buy mortgages to the tune of $40 billion a month until the unemployment improved. But he'd already said that unemployment wouldn't be lowered to 6% for another 5 or 6 years. And QE1 and QE2 had already consumed $2 trillion of the estimated $10 trillion reservoir of U.S. mortgages. $40 billion a month would further consume the U.S. mortgage market at a rate of 4% of the total pool per year. This is not creating an economic stimulus. It's simply a lie to cover his tracks. This is simply the only way Bernanke can keep creating $100 billion a month to spend on free benefits to those growing more and more dependent on government benefits. The other money he's grabbing, beyond the $40 billion a month, is obtained through another shady deal where the Fed sells short-term debt and buys longer-term debt with the cash, simply using the rollover to use the longer holding as some contrived value that time is money. Over a 5-year term, that 4% of consuming the private sector mortgage market would amount to another 20% of U.S. mortgages, putting the overall government ownership of all U.S. mortgages at 40%. That's like assigning a mortgage to every man, woman, and child in the country. And what, if anything, have we purchased? Nothing. We've simply allowed the government to continue to consume dollars by giving it away in benefits that are more and more perceived as entitlement benefits by those receiving them. In fact, this does not create jobs, but creates a massive burden on society. It simply keeps the miserable economy level, but on a slight slide downward as it has to consume more and more of its GDP to pay the interest on the growing debt. Nothing long-term is being created other than millions of more deeply addicted beneficiaries. This creates a problem for our nation of unparalleled magnitude. Should Obama be reelected, this would continue and bury capitalism in the U.S. as a government essentially took over the means of commerce and wealth storage. If, on the other hand, Mitt Romney were elected, he would be faced with a nation addicted to government infusion of billions of dollars a month from creation of debt only, not from economic prosperity. Turn off that faucet, and you'd throw the nation into a severe depression, causing rioting by those being withdrawn from their dependency, and create a great deal of unpopularity among those who feel they are entitled to that money flow. And nothing would be creating of lasting value other than a massive debt and massive addiction to free money. This intravenous infusion of open-ended money flow to fund a debt that creates no jobs, no wealth, is a ticket to a ride for which there may be no escape.
It's halftime in America, folks.